Story 1. I'd start it with, well, since you know how much I love running. Story 2. Please ask them to make sure my mother takes all her medication. My mother is deceased, so they may think this is fake. In any case, they will know something is wrong. Story 3. If I were talking to my best friend, I would write something like, hey, I am really missing Uncle Joe and I need a real break, so I am going to go hang out with him. I hate my uncle deeply, and my friend would be alarmed and know that something is wrong. Story 4. My family has a secret message that, when spoken, tells the other family members that something is wrong. We use it when traveling. There is also a secret message to confirm that everything is okay and that the caller is really a family member, not a deepfake. I would use the duress message. Story 5. My husband would not pick up on a hint if it hit him with a mallet. If I said I was going to his parents, who have long since passed away, he would just think I was having a moment. It would not occur to him that I was in trouble. A message saying I had seen Bob at the old hut in the woods would not make him come looking for me. I am on my own with this. Story 6. I used many misspellings, such as substituting your for your and using its when it should be its. I put apostrophes on every word ending in S because that was my pet peeve. I also misused commas and wrote run-on sentences. Anyone who knows me would notice it was not me writing. I mentioned encountering relatives who have been dead for a long time. Story 7. When I get home, I will give everyone hugs, even though I dislike being hugged, because people would notice something is wrong. Story 8. Work, shelter, complete, rich, sand, fearless, plucky, direction, insurance, obtainable. Story 9. I'd add incorrect facts like an obviously wrong date I would recognize. For example, saying, sorry, I'll miss your birthday this weekend, when the birthday is actually months away, or using the wrong nickname, like calling someone named Michael Mickey, when they never go by that name. Edit. My cousin once signaled she needed help by saying she was excited for Grandpa's birthday party. Grandpa had been dead for years. Story 10. My family has a password. It began when I was a little child. We were supposed to ask for the password if someone tried to pick us up from school, even someone we knew. As we grew older, it became a code phrase meaning that something is wrong and I need you to get me out of the situation. We used it casually in conversation, for example, if we needed to go home from a slumber party. Eventually, it became the phrase to use in case of emergency. Story 11. All I have to say is I love my mom and can't wait to see her next time. Anyone who knows me would have 10,000 alarm bells going off in their heads. Story 12. I went to visit my mother. Everyone in my life knows I hate her. She lives across the country in a ward. I will not see her even after she dies. Anyone who reads that would instantly know something is very wrong. Story 13. Dear former roommates, I am tired of this boring life. In this day and age, a woman like me cannot be tied down anymore. Danger is out there, but so is adventure. I have been thinking a lot lately and daydreaming. I have taken a few too many paid time off days, according to my boss. My cats are not suited to life on the road. Would you take them? In your home, they would be in a familiar environment even if I am not around. Glitch loves Jeopardy. They will be happy to see your cat Lily again. They missed her after we moved. If you need me for anything, no matter where I am, I will come back. Help yourself to any furniture I left in my apartment. Keep what you want and sell what you do not. I know this will sound unlike me. I am usually happiest when life is boring and not the adventurous type. My cats were bullied by their cat, which was one of the main reasons I moved out. They are terrified of her. I loved my roommates, but I could never subject my cats to that again. Last but not least, you might notice a message spelled out by the first word of each sentence. Story 14. My family has a secret state that, if we mention it 3 times, becomes a danger sign. When a relative moved there, we did not call it by name or by its abbreviation. Instead, we used a nickname. Story 15. Our code with our children is that they should ask if our cat is okay. He has been dead for years. We set that up when we first sent them to overnight camp and they were not allowed to call us directly. If their counselor said that one of them had asked if our cat was okay, we knew to come get them right away. However, they had too much fun and never used it. Now it has become a de facto code for any situation in which they need us but are embarrassed to say so directly in front of their friends. Story 16. When I was going on dates through OkCupid, one or two friends always checked on me. It was usually played off as a normal conversation, but saying Tom is going to college would have gotten attention, because Tom was a friend who would never go to college. Story 17. A Federal Bureau of Investigation agent said, "Judging by this written note, the kidnapper has clearly cut off several of your husband's fingers." My wife replied, "No, that's his normal handwriting." Story 18. I decided to visit somewhere really cold to clear my mind and enjoy the beauty of the snow. Anyone who knows me knows I would never travel anywhere that is not on an island with a beautiful beach. Story 19. I left and joined the circus again. My circus equipment would still be in the house, and they know my health is too poor right now, so that would certainly tip them off. Story 20. Take good care of Bruno for me. Not that he gives a shit when his spare human leaves, just like the rest of you assholes. The dog's name was Bruno when we got him, but now he is Spud, and he has extreme separation anxiety. He taught himself to open doors so he could get to me when we shut him out of my room during sex. Laughing out loud. The problem is I do not know if any of my people would figure it out. They would probably be bewildered and maybe think the dementia finally kicked in. I tested it by asking my fiancé. He was confused and nothing clicked. I am surrounded by idiots and would just be successfully kidnapped. Story 21. I was kidnapped once. I used to end every conversation, phone call or text and so on with "I love you," even with people I did not know well. Because of my lifestyle, I wanted my last words to someone to be, "I love you." Not having that ending would have been a dead giveaway. Story 22. I'm going camping for a while. You all know how much I need my time outdoors away from people. I'm a social person who dislikes any level of discomfort. I do not want it to be too hot, too cold, too windy, or too rainy. I love the woods, but only from the comfort of a cottage. Story 23. I've never written a letter, so that in itself would be pretty strange. Story 24. This depends on how intelligent my kidnapper is. I would use coded language that my spouse would recognize. I would say I am all right. This is what I wanted to do because of something interesting. In my household, the word interesting is another way of saying bad. Story 25. Add details that are not real, such as telling Bobby not to worry about me and that I will be fine, even when there is no actual Bobby. Story 26. I end all my messages with the phrase, "By the way, I have been kidnapped by people from Reddit." Story 27. Please give Wolfie a big hug from me. In Terminator 2, the Terminator Model T-800 tests the Terminator Model T-1000, who is posing as John Connor's foster mother by calling the dog Wolfie when his name is Max. My husband would know immediately. Story 28. Something like, I don't give a shit about my adult kids and they can all fuck off. I loved my mother until the day she died. I loved my stepfather even more. I really cared about my former neighbor Bonnie. That'll do it. Story 29. I love you, Mom, and wish you the best because fuck that bitch. Story 30. Someone I know always tells their family that everything sucks or that they are doing awful. The idea is that if you ever have to say all is good or I am okay, they definitely know something is wrong. I find this genius. Story 31. I am running away to live on cheeseburgers and Kentucky Fried Chicken. I am a vegan who has not been able to handle deep-fried food since I was 3 years old. They would know. Story 32. I broke all 4 rules today. I will tell you the story when I get home. Rule 4. Do not get abducted. Story 33. I've gone camping. Everyone knows I don't camp willingly. Story 34. I would include something about travel. People in my life know I detest travel. I do not want a holiday in a tropical paradise. I do not even want to go to the nearest major city, about an hour and a half away. It would be obvious if I wrote that I wanted to travel the world. Story 35. I told my family I was okay and needed time alone, but they got so upset they came looking for me to bother me. Story 36. I am tired of being held back from all the activities I want to do, the parties I want to attend, and the friends I want to make. I am finally taking the trip I have threatened to take for all these years to meet strangers and live the social life I need. There is not a person in my life who would believe this. Story 37. Anything religious. Keep me in your prayers. Praise the Lord, God willing, and so on. Story 38. I've always said that if my mom ever called me by my first name, I would immediately assume it was a hostage situation. Story 39. There are a lot of spiders around, and I am okay with it. Story 40. I decided to go to Florida to see my idol, Donald Trump. He would know in an instant that there was a problem, or I had completely lost my marbles. Story 41. Do not answer, Redditors. They are looking for your tricks so they can kidnap you. Story 42. Just write how much I love my sister. Red flag. They know something is wrong. Story 43. The letter itself will explain. I only write when I have a problem. Otherwise, I remain silent. Considering this, the person reading this will probably get a heart attack because of the message. Story 44. I would likely sign off with a childhood nickname that I hate. I asked my entire family to stop calling me that when I got older. One aunt and one uncle are still allowed to use it. My mom, dad, brother, and husband would know something is wrong immediately. Story 45. Dear wife, I've run away. I'm not coming back. If you need money, sell my Lego on eBay. Signed, me. This would result in immediate phone calls to the police, Coast Guard, Mountain Rescue, and even the United Nations. Sherlock Holmes and the Thunderbirds may be fictional, but their phones would be ringing. Trust me, she would find a way. I would be amazed if the kidnappers kept me for more than half an hour. Story 46. I would say I am having so much fun dancing to reggaeton at the mall. I do not dance. I hate reggaeton, and going to the mall is the worst thing that could happen to me. Story 47. I would write a letter to my kidnappers. Thank you for adopting me. Story 48. I once sent an out-of-the-blue text to my sister that said you are great and I love you as part of a therapy assignment. She immediately called my mom to ask if I had been diagnosed with something terminal. I am more of a doer than a sayer. Apparently all I needed to write was something very sugary. Story 49. I am okay. I just felt like it has been too long since my last trip to Disney, so I am visiting Mickey. My family knows that is my 7th circle of hell. Story 50. Dear family, I ran while listening to country music. I won't be back until I have kicked every puppy in town. Don't wait for me for dinner. I'm not hungry. Story 51. My husband and I established code questions to check if we had been possessed or become pod people. I would say I did not want Mexican food and that I loved Comic Sans. He would say he did not want a steak or that he loved a very well done steak. Then I would know something was amiss. Story 52. Nobody who knows me would believe that I ran away. I am almost always home. Story 53. My husband and I have an agreed-on code word. It is innocuous, but neither of us would use it accidentally. I always tell him that if he hears me use it on the phone or sees it in a text message or letter, something dangerous is happening and he should call for help. Story 54. Well, for starters, I feel my wife could figure it out because why would a grown man run away from home? Otherwise, I would ask for a mushroom pizza when I get home. We both dislike mushrooms on pizza, so we made it our safety phrase. Story 55. I have an aunt who will spend the night calling the entire family when she is intoxicated. She has never had my phone number, so I could not avoid the drama. I asked my mother to give my number to her so we could keep in touch, but that would definitely set off alarm bells. Story 56. Not only have I thought about this, I have discussed it with someone who would know. Pretty much everyone who knows me and to whom I would be writing would notice if I misspelled words or used text abbreviations or poor grammar. I edit text messages all the time to correct anything that looks wrong. I proofread emails repeatedly to check them. Even under duress, I have edited messages. This kidnapping letter would be no different, and I do not think this kidnapper would find modern abbreviations unusual. Story 57. My mom told me as a teenager that if I had to write a letter or call her, and I did not want the person I was with to know I was asking for help, I should say I was worried I had locked the cat in my room and asked if she could come and let it out. We did not have a cat, so my mom would know I needed help. Story 58. In the children's book series The Famous Five, there is a character called George. She is a girl whose real name is Georgina, but she is a tomboy and hates her full name. She strictly goes by George. In one book, she is kidnapped and forced to write a letter. She signs it Georgina, and the others know at once it was written under duress. These plots always bother me in films, so I told my husband about George and we adopted that as our system. If one of us signs a note with a real name, the other should look for clues that it was written under duress. We never use our real names with each other, so it would work. This is entirely hypothetical. The chances of getting kidnapped are essentially zero. But when people mess the stuff up in film, we congratulate ourselves for doing better than them and joke that we are ready for lives as teenage mystery solvers. Story 59. I would use the wrong your and there or there or there throughout. My friends and family would immediately notice. Story 60. I hope someone sees this. Years ago, I heard a podcast about a similar case in which a kidnapped woman said on the phone to her sister, "I'm sorry I missed your birthday." The sister knew something was wrong because she would never miss a birthday. Story 61. Hi Mom. I am having so much fun on my trip. I have been eating lots of onion rings, and we even went to a place with pork chop sandwiches. My mom knows I hate onions and pork chops. I have told her numerous times that if I were kidnapped, this is how she would know something was wrong. Story 62. I'm okay. I've just been to the gym and gone for a 5-kilometer run. Then I'm going to work on an organic vegan farm through worldwide opportunities on organic farms for a while. Don't worry about me. I've given up bacon for a healthier life. Story 63. I would write that the place where I am is great and there is no alcohol here. They would know I am in severe danger. It is like the movie Taken, and if they do not reach me soon, they will never find me. Story 64. I would say I went to Nebraska because I always loved it there. They would know. Story 65. When I used the wrong forms of certain words such as it's and its, there, and your, my mom would immediately sense that something was wrong. Story 66. I'm enjoying eating all these peas. I hate peas. I had peas stuck up my nose when I was a kid, so I did not have to eat them. Story 67. There is a really weird children's book that our child loved. The text is memorable but fairly mundane, and it is easy to use in many situations. I could put it into an I am okay letter, no problem. My wife and child know it is our family code. We also use it to verify family identity. One person says a line and the other replies with the next. Story 68. I would say something totally out of character for me, and my family would know immediately. I saw it on Beverly Hills 90210 when Donna called David Dave, which she never did. Story 69. Tell my dad I love him. I fucking hate his guts. My partner will definitely know something is wrong. Story 70. I would use the wrong you are or your and there or they are or there. I hope people know I would never do that and realize something is wrong. Story 71. I had to run away. We only ever had Diet Coke in the house, and I really prefer Diet Pepsi. Story 72. You can give my dog away or take her to the shelter if you cannot keep her. Story 73. Try to include details that are obviously wrong to anyone who knows me. Story 74. This thread feels like we are feeding a kidnapper information about what to look for when cross-checking the letter. Story 75. I would mention my desperation to have children. They would organize a search party within the hour. Story 76. I have a degree in writing and worked for more than a decade as a resume and curriculum vitae writer. Even a simple mix-up of your or there becomes a flashing beacon that something is wrong. Send help. Story 77. I know this is going to be long. Please bear with me and try to understand the circumstances I am in. Story 78. Has the number 7 come up a lot in the letter? My dad will pick up on the meaning. Story 79. I would sign it Go Raiders. My family would immediately know something was terribly wrong. Story 80. I am okay and looking forward to coming home and cheering on my beloved Ohio State Buckeyes. Story 81. I'll use a secret code. Tell Salvador and Ani I love them. Salvador means savior and Ani means I or me. They are the closest names to save me. Story 82. I couldn't handle the yarn or living with Loki anymore, so I had to leave. I spin wool and crochet. Everyone knows it, even random people I see at the doctor's office. Loki was my soul pup. We lost him in 2023 when he was 12 and a half years old, and I have mourned him more than anyone else, including my father. Story 83. Sign the note with the nickname you both use in an emergency. Story 84. Tell my kid's mother that I love her. They will instantly know that it is not me or that I need serious help. Story 85. Tell them that I hope Jacob is doing well and to give him my best. He is my no-contact brother, and I would not care about him under any circumstances. Story 86. If the kidnapper tells me exactly what to write, I would put a few spelling mistakes in there. Story 87. It started as a joke, but my family's code word is iced tea. I hate it, so if I ever say I wish I had some, you can be sure I am being held against my will. Story 88. I would say something about how I can't wait to get home and see Dad, but he has been dead for 22 years. Story 89. I went camping with a friend to be in nature and explore a more down-to-earth spirituality. My family knows I don't go camping. They would expect me to be at a park with geese and ducks, so they would realize I had been kidnapped. Story 90. I am looking forward to spending time alone, camping in the wilderness. As if. Story 91. I did not take my cats with me. If I am moving, they are moving too. Story 92. I will ask for help using my native language but in shorthand so they cannot look it up online. Story 93. I would write in print. My family and my friends know I only write in cursive. Story 94. They have the best ranch ever, but everyone in my household, including me, hates it. Story 95. I cannot write in Aunt Josephine's exact voice, but I can offer an original letter that captures her anxious, pedantic tone. My dearest, I write to you from the damp hollow of curdled cave by the light of a sputtering lamp. I am not safe, no one is safe, but I have found a small ledge on which to sit and a scrap of paper on which to warn you. You must not take comfort in familiar things. Trust no rope unless you inspect every knot, and do not depend on voices that call from the dark. If you must travel, move slowly and name each step as you take it. Remember to mind your commas and your common sense, for a misplaced pause or a hurried conclusion will do more harm than a dozen storms. Burn this letter after reading it, but first remember where you left the matches. With all the careful affection I can contrive, your ever-anxious aunt. Story 96. I feel that if I said, take the streets, as the freeways are crowded, my family would clue in, and they would immediately say, that's the code. Are you all right? Are you in trouble? And that would give the whole plan away. Story 97. Dear mother-in-law, I hope you are well. Thank you for your kindness and support. It means so much to our family. I appreciate everything you do and the love you share. I look forward to spending time together soon. With love. Story 98. I would send a warm, heartfelt message without any sarcasm or jokes. Story 99. Pull the Terminator 2 and ask them to make sure they feed and care for the wrong pet name or the imaginary pet. Story 100. I would mention my love for my estranged sister, whom I have not spoken to in years after she completely betrayed me, as well as my upcoming solo trip to England. Just enough so they would know something was off, but it would look normal if the kidnapper checked it. Story 101. This probably contains many lies, refers to people who do not exist, and uses incorrect terms. Story 102. I decided to work things out with my ex. I have to go train for a triathlon. I am born again. Story 103. Hey Janelle, what's wrong with Wolfie? I can hear him barking. Story 104. The fact that I wrote, I ran is obvious. Everyone knows exercise and I do not mix. Story 105. I would not have to do anything. I never write letters that would raise suspicion. Story 106. My wife and I have a code. It's something along the lines of, I hope my dad isn't worried and smoking packs of Camels. My dad used to exclusively smoke Marlboro. She'll know something is wrong if I name the wrong brand. Story 107. Grammar and spelling are important to Mum. She was a teacher and her standards passed on to me. I might deliberately mess up spelling and syntax and even include some Welsh, because she knows I would never write her a letter like that if I were running away. I would also reference a long dead pet in the present tense to signal that something was not right. Story 108. Write the letter in a way that is unconventional for you. Misspell words, make your handwriting appear different, and so on, so that the person receiving the letter immediately detects that something is not right. Do not add extra commentary. Story 109. Give my family history book to my younger brother. He has died. Story 110. My best friend and I used to say, "Have you found my red ribbon?" I know I lifted it from a book, clearly an old one, because why would we have ribbons? It bothers me that I can't remember which one. Story 111. I haven't used it since I was 16. My sister and my girlfriend would definitely know something was wrong. Your birth name. Story 112. My handwriting would change. I would stop using the computer style A. I would use a line through the 7 and write a G instead of a 9. I would write with my left hand and poorly at that. I would not use punctuation or capital letters, which is not like me. I still write neatly at high speed, so it would not make sense for me to have bad handwriting. I might also mention the birthday of one of my grandmothers next week, but they are in Poland, so that would not make sense. Story 113. Refer to something in my life that is fake. For example, saying I look after a daughter. I do not have a daughter. If someone normally has neat handwriting, writing messily could indicate duress. However, stress or haste, such as when running away from home, can also cause messy writing, so this clue is less reliable. Use language that is not part of my usual vernacular or idiolect. That would require a detective to study my writing as in crime dramas, and I do not know how often they do that in real life. Story 114. So what happens if you don't have anyone to send the letter to? I guess if my mom were still alive, I would include as much false and opposite information as I could. I hated my dad and he was dead, so I might write, I cannot deal with you anymore. I am going to find Dad in Colombia. Do whatever you want with the dog and cats. Kill them if you want. I am so over this. 1. My dad was dead. 2. I had not spoken to him since I was 9. 3. He lived in Chile, not Colombia. 4. My animals mean everything, and I would move heaven and earth to have them with me or to ensure they are cared for by the right person. 5. I go silent when I want to be left alone. I do not tend to notify people. Story 115. My messages contain misspelled words and poor or missing punctuation. Anyone who knows me or has ever received a text from me would know. Story 116. Hey, I'm not being kidnapped. I'm good. Postscript. I'm being kidnapped. Story 117. I am okay. I ran away. For many days I have been thinking about this. Being there caused me too much pain. Keep the things that I left there. I do not need them. Please do not search for me. Nothing. That is what I want to do with you. A day will come and maybe you will get it. Please just say that I am on a trip voluntarily. People should not know about this. Either way, do well without me. Or do not. Assholes. Story 118. I would tell the family to enjoy a certain food whose name has always been our safe word. Story 119. 1. Talk about things, pets, events, or people that never existed or that you have always thought of differently. 2. Give clues about where you are or who you are with. Describe the temperature and the setting, whether urban or rural. If you hear a train, cars, or a river, these sounds can give location clues. Even the time the sun sets, if you are far from home, can provide minor details about your location. Local phrases or customs can also provide clues. For example, if you hear on the news about a local event, such as a parade or a book fair, you might say it reminded you of a time when you saw eye to eye and attended something similar. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.